In the last recording, I showed you how to make something go just across the screen. It was an ellipse, and it was just one single ellipse, and that was not a part of object-oriented coding. We just wanted to remind us how to increment something, add velocity to a position, and then when you got to the end of the screen, when your X position was passed width, you would reset your width or your X position to 0. So now I'm going to show you how to make 100 of these things, and we're going to make what's called an object. So starting with the same code, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this tab. We haven't done that yet, right? We're going to make a new tab, and the class that we're going to create is called car. And I use a capital C when I'm making objects. It's just a convention that some people use. So do this. Again, I clicked on that and I'm typing car there, and I'm going to have a whole nother thing. Now, remember, when you click over here, you see OOP1. And I know that if I went up here and I showed the sketch folder, I would see OOP1.pde. Now, after I save this, I will see OOP1.pde and car1 also. So let's take a look at that. Show sketch folder. Hey, look, OOP1, and there's car.pde and OOP1.pde. Now, if I am just going in here to start processing for the first time and I want to open this program, always open the one that is the same name as the folder. Okay, in previous versions of processing, you would have a problem with this. You'd have to make sure, if I opened car, it wouldn't show the OOP tab. And it would say, oh, do you want to put this car in another folder? So right now, if I was going to reopen this, I would open OOP1.pde because that's the name of the folder. Okay, back to here. What are we going to do over here in car? We're going to create what's called a car class. So this is the syntax for creating a class. So you write the word class, and then I'm going to have my class have a capital C, and then over here you have a beginning and ending curly bracket for the whole thing. Okay, kind of like a switch case statement, but it's different. Then inside here, a class has 3 different things in it. It's got attributes, so there will be an area with the different things that a car has, like its velocity and its position and stuff like that. Then over here we'll have constructors, or constructor, and then over here we'll have methods. Okay, and I'll show you what all of those are. So remember, my car has got a position and it's also got a velocity. Later on, each car may have a color to it. Each car may have a width. Each car may even have a type. So right now I have a position. And it was a float. Remember, it was a floating point number. So float position will be my first attribute. And my other, remember, we ended up having a velocity too. So let's do a float velocity for right now. Velocity. I don't spell right when I'm doing this. Now the constructor is going to look like a function, like one of these functions that we've been doing, void draw, void setup, and then we had void mouse pressed and stuff like that, right? So it's going to look like this, but it doesn't have the word void in front of it. It's got nothing. It's crazy that way, okay? And it has a beginning and ending curly bracket. So look, see, if you put your cursor in front of a curly bracket, you'll see its friend, its mate, right? And over here, there's also one of these. You guys, a lot of times, you leave one of these off, you have them mismatched or something. It always gives you the most confusing errors in the world, and then you get depressed. So the constructor has got beginning and ending curly bracket. Attributes don't have a beginning and ending curly bracket, see? All right, so in the constructor's function is to fill the attributes, to initialize the attributes. So I'm going to say position equals 0. This is my X position. I don't have a Y position thing yet. And then I'm going to say velocity equals, well, we were having it increment 1 across, so I'll do velocity equals 1. Maybe I'll do velocity equals 3. We'll make it go faster. Okay, and that's it. Then our methods, these are the things that a car would do. So right now I have a void display maybe, and that will be what the car looks like. And right now I'm just going to have an ellipse. And it'll say position, because each car has got its own position. And then maybe I'll have a Y position will be 30. And then I'll have a width and a height, it's 50 and 50. And then lastly here, I'll have a move. So void move. And then my move will be where I add You guys can barely see this because it's at the bottom of the screen. But my move over here will be my adding the velocity to the position. So position, position equals position plus velocity. Okay, and that's it. That's all I have here. I'm going to see if you guys can see this there. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Then over here, I'm going to take this draw stuff out here, and I'm going to show you how you get a car into here. So this is like a whole self-contained program, right? It's my class, and I'm going to show you how to instantiate an object from the class. So how you do it is, in order to make a new car, you're going to call the constructor. And so this is what it looks like when you do that. And I'm going to do it in the setup because I'm only going to have one car for right now. So actually first what I need to do is I need to declare that I'm going to have a car, something of type car. So look, that capital CAR means that I'm going to have, this is going to be of class car. Like int, we have int or float. We made our own thing, right? We made our own type of variable. It's called a car. And I'm going to call our first car my car 1 maybe even, okay? And then over here, so that's declaring it. And then over here I'm going to do what's called instantiating it. So I'm going to initialize it. And the way I do that is my car 1 equals, and then I have to write the word new in front of this, and then car. So this new means I'm instantiating a new object. This capital CAR refers to the constructor here, refers to that. Okay, and so what's going to happen is inside of something of type car called my car 1 is going to have all this stuff. It's going to have its own little position. It's going to have its own little velocity, and it's going to make it there. And then over here in the draw command, I'm going to say, I'm going to work on my car. I'm going to do some stuff. My car dot display. That's going to be, sorry, my car 1 dot display. That's going to mean do this method on my car. So it's what it's going to do is going to make an ellipse with my car 1's position, which was 0. Okay, and I'm not going to do the move yet or the drive command yet. I'm going to just see this, see how it works, and see what it looks like. So look, it looks kind of the same as the old code used to look, right? It's not moving or anything. I want to show you something really cool. You've seen this dot probably in other people's code, and you've been like, what is that? Okay, what that can be is it's sort of refers to something inside of this object, right? So this object's got these attributes too, right? It's got a position, it's got a velocity. I can actually access every car's position by just its name and then putting a dot and then position. So remember our old friend print line? I can do this, print line, my car 1 dot position, and it's gonna print its position. So not position, sorry, not with parentheses, it's just a variable. So right now I'm going to expect to see a whole bunch of zeros coming through my console right here. And let's see if that actually happens. So I'm saving, and then I'm running it, and look, 0, it's 0.0 because it's a float. Pretty cool, right? So if I wanted to print its velocity, I could do that too. Velocity, and that's, I think I set that to 3. Pretty cool too, huh? So you can access the attributes or the methods of an object by putting a dot in between the object's name and the thing that you're trying to reference. And so display is a method. Like, look at this. Display is a method, so it's got these parentheses after it. So that's why you need the parenthesis there. This is just an attribute here. So that's why you don't need parentheses after it. It's a float. Okay? So in order, I can comment this out right now. In order to make this car move, right, in order to do the position equals position plus velocity, I will do this. My car 1 dot, my car 1 dot move. And now that should move my car across the screen. Let's see it happen. Wow, there it goes. Oh, but it keeps going, right? It doesn't have its if statement. So I wonder where the if statement goes. You should pause this and decide. It doesn't go in here. Every car is going to have its own little reset part, right? Every single car. We're going to make 100 of these. So somewhere in the car tab, you need to put that if position is greater than width, position equals 0. And I'll let you pause this right here. Did you get it? So that will go inside each of these methods, you know, got its own beginning and ending curly bracket, so that's going to go inside here. If position is greater than width, then position equals 0. And let's see that happen. Hey, look at that, right? So something cool that we can do is now we can make a whole bunch of cars. If I say you got to make another car, you don't have to look at this tab at all. This is our class of car. We can forget about this. We go over here, and where do we make our first car? This is where we declared it. So we'll declare a second car. And then here's where we moved it. Here's where we instantiated it. So we'll have to copy that. We'll have to make another car. My car 2, we'll call it. New car, that's all the same. And then over here, we'll have to have these two things too. My car 1 and my car 2 will have to have a display and a move. And that will make 2 cars. Now if I run this, they're going to be in the same place. They're both on top of each other because they both have the same velocity and they both have the same position. So maybe instead of initializing the position always to be 0, I can make that a random number. Like I can make it random between 0 and 100. Okay, and then maybe my velocity I can also make random between 1 and 3. So now we'll see a couple of them going across. Yeah, now there's 2. There's my car 1 and my car 2. Now you should see, I'll pause this, and you should see if you can add another. If I tell you, you need to add a color, or you need to add a Y position to it, you should see if you can do that. This float position is kind of an X position, right? So if you added another attribute that was a Y position and you added a color attribute, I'll bet you'd do something really cool. So I'll pause it right here. See if you can add a color to your car. Did you do it? To add a color to your car, that's not going to be in this area now. Now these are that's going to be something you're going to add to every car. So in every car here, it has its own position, it's got its own velocity. We're going to put a color in there. My color, I'll just call it. And it's of type color. So then here, we're going to have to initialize the color. Nothing better than a random color, right? Equals color random 255, random 255, random 255, right? Okay, now we've got an attribute. We've added an attribute called my color. We have, remember that in the constructor you need to fill the attributes. So we've filled it here, we've initialized it here, and now we need to use it. So how would we use a color in an ellipse? To color an ellipse. Before the ellipse happens, you need to change the color of the ink before we draw it, right? So here we will do fill and then my color. Pretty simple, huh? Let's see if that works. Hey, 2 different colors. Yay. So now you should challenge yourself to add a position Y, because the position that we have now is just a position X. And then maybe you can challenge yourself to do a size too. And I would call the size attribute my size. I wouldn't call it size. Why? Because look over here, there's a size command. So when you add another attribute in here into your class, call it my size. Make it a float. Good luck.